Hi, Alessio. Hope you're well. In this video, I want to talk about XRP. Many of you have been asking me for an update on the chart of XRP. So let's dig into this chart and what my likely targets and expectations are for this particular crypto, this altcoin, and also what this chart of XRP is telling us as well. There are some strong warnings about XRP which we need to talk about. All right, guys, join me. Alright guys, welcome back. So many of you have been asking me for an update on XRP for some time, and I decided to wait until I have a better and more clear picture of what XRP is providing here, especially from an Elliott wave perspective, but also generally from a chart perspective as well. Let me say that some of you who are going to watch this video, especially if you're fans or enthusiasts of XRP, you're probably not going to like what I'm going to say in this video. You might think, some of you probably might think that I don't like XRP and that I'm always bearish on XRP. That is not true. If you've been following my analysis for some time, you probably remember what I said about XRP back in the year 2020 when it started dropping and crashing right about here. So you probably remember during that major crisis that XRP faced, when the big news came out that it was being delisted from Coinbase, all kinds of news were going on about XRP, severe bad news. And of course, I said, look, just ignore the news and look at the chart. In fact, this is a screenshot of my YouTube video back in December 2020. When everybody was panicking and as XRP was crashing, this is what I said in my video. You can see it right here. I said, I think there's a high probability that we have seen capitulation and a bottom in XRP. Nobody else is calling for a bottom. I was calling for a bottom in the price of XRP because I was actually bullish. I was buying XRP on this way down. Okay, and in fact, you can see from this next chart over here, this is the same video, a screenshot of the same video. And you can see my projections, my target for XRP for the wave 3 was 1.3. There it is. Now, you can see at the time when I made the video, XRP was about 24 cents. And I was looking for 1.3. People thought I was crazy at the time, that I was looking for a price rally eventually to go to 1.3 from such lows. But that's what's happened. Everybody else, pretty much everybody was focused on the news, but I was bullish on XRP. And you can see what happened. So it went eventually from here, from about 0.24 level here, to, my target at the very minimum to 1.3. As a matter of fact, it went beyond that level, beyond that projection. Okay, I mentioned this because, again, some of you watching this video probably might think that I don't like XRP or that I'm always bearish on XRP or crypto. That is not true at all. I don't develop any affections for crypto or any market. I try my best to be objective when I look at the charts. All right, guys, unlike most other YouTubers or analysts out there who have a genuine affection for crypto or stock markets or whatever, I try my best not to do that and give you what I consider to be a reliable and sound analysis of the markets. All right, guys, so let's dig into these charts. So first of all, let me just zoom back a little bit here. I'll keep this analysis as brief as I can. I don't want to go really into much detail because really what I have to say here is quite simple. After that major rally that we saw, again, ending back in 2018, pretty much. So that major rally from the 2015, 2016 levels to 2018, it looks quite clear. We've been in a strong correction. In fact, I have this first drop here now as an A wave down, which then was followed by a B wave bounce. And that means this next drop was a likely C wave. Okay. And by the way, this C wave will eventually go down to retest the lows that we had in 2020. Okay. So in other words, I have this at the moment. Let me just get my pen. This was our A wave down. Sorry for my handwriting here. A wave, B wave. And that means sometime in the next year or so, we could see a C wave drop, whether this year or next year, a C wave drop to retest the lows we had back in the year 2020. By the way, that's a minimum target. I think we could probably drop below that as well. By the way, that means that this drop that occurred back in the year 2022 was a likely wave 1 and then a wave 2 bounce. Notice where the wave 2 bounce took us, by the way, to the 61.8% retracement of that first drop. So there's a first drop that occurred after the B wave completed, the first drop, wave 1. Wave 2 usually completes at the 61.8% golden ratio retracement, and that means we're probably at the moment starting or about to start a wave 3 taking us down to the C wave target. All right, so a third wave eventually taking us down to the lows of 2020. By the way, I fully realize that C waves are composed of 5 waves. All right, so I'm not saying that's the end of the C wave. There will be a waves 4 and 5. That's just my minimum target for the wave 3. Now, I realize some of you watching this video are skeptical. You're probably doubtful that's going to happen, but that's what I'm seeing at the moment. And here's one major factor why I think another big drop in the price of XRP is quite likely. This bounce and rally that occurred, I mean, it can hardly be called a rally, but there it is. This bounce that occurred here, to me, it just looks so overlapping. This was a corrective bounce. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This is a very overlapping bounce. And as you know, if we're going to start a new trend to the upside, the rallies and bounces must be impulsive, composed of 5 waves that do not overlap. But because we have so much overlapping structures here, this is not impulsive. This is corrective. In other words, this bounce that occurred here, guys, to me, that supports the view that we had a corrective bounce. And what does that mean? It means very likely we're going to see another big drop in the price of XRP, taking us down eventually to these lows. In other words, if we take this drop here as our wave 1, we should have truncated 5th wave here and a second wave bounce here. I think it's quite likely that if XRP now was to take out the 0.41 and then 0.35 level here, so if it takes out these 2 levels, especially 35 cents, then we could see a major drop, okay, for the 3rd wave down, the 3rd wave of a 5-wave structure, taking us down eventually at a minimum, taking us down to the 20-cent level. All right, that could take us to the end of the year potentially. So 0.20 eventually to 0.17, and yes, my most likely target, by the way, for the drop in XRP, if it breaks down below these levels. So in other words, if XRP was to break down below these levels, I'm looking for confirmation. All right, guys. So everything I'm saying here is based on probabilities. So what I'm saying is if XRP now takes out these levels, 0.35 and 0.41, then brace for impact, because a break of these 2 levels, especially 0.35 here, yeah, that could mean a big drop down to the 20-cent level and eventually 17 and 13 cent here. Okay, guys, 0.13 is my most likely target in the next several months, perhaps by the end of this year or next year, potentially. So a big major move is coming to the downside here for that wave 3 in the price of XRP. By the way, that's only as long as XRP stays below these levels, resistance, 0.64 and 0.75. So in other words, if I'm right, XRP needs to stay below these levels, that's 0.64 and 0.75, and then break down below 35, into a 0.35 level here. If the crypto breaks down below these support levels here, then yeah, that's my wave 3 target for the C wave for a big drop down to, at the very minimum, 0.20 and then 0.13. Okay, so by the way, that would also mean a breakdown below this trend line support as well. These trend lines have to break, and especially this support level near 0.35. By the way, there's another important factor I need to consider here as well, and that is the momentum. There is a likely pulse momentum that is forming here. Hasn't triggered yet, but I think it's going to soon. So we got a lot of downward negative momentum here on this momentum signal. So I think once this triggers, which it hasn't done as yet, but I think it's going to, especially if it breaks down below 0.35, I'm seeing a big move coming in the price of XRP, as long as it stays below those levels that I mentioned. For example, as long as it stays below this near resistance, like for example 0.6 and 0.64. As long as XRP stays below those levels, I'm looking for a downside move. Again, a momentum move, a strong, big move down in the price of XRP to those levels, to those lower levels. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, Alessio, what if you're wrong? Okay, fine. There's always a chance I could be wrong. Nobody has a crystal ball. So even though my higher probability is for a move to the downside eventually in XRP, sometime this year or next, there is a potential that I may be wrong. And if that's the case, if XRP, it's an if, it's a big if, but if XRP manages by some miracle to get above these levels, again, the levels I just mentioned, 0.64 to 0.75, if XRP manages to get above these levels, okay, as an example, which I doubt, I think it's unlikely, but if it does, then it's possible that what we have here is an A wave, B wave, and if XRP gets above those levels of resistance, we may have a C wave taking us to retest potentially 1.4 or even the highs we made back in the year 2021. That would be some kind of an ABC structure. And then a big decline, a big major drop after that. So again, even this pattern does not look very hopeful. Let me just say this. I don't think this is likely, even though I'm putting this wave count out there. This is my lower probability scenario. The higher probability scenario, everything about XRP so far seems to show a big drop coming to the downside. Okay, especially we get confirmation by a breakdown below this support level, like for example below 0.41 and then 0.35. If these support levels break, okay, especially that level at 0.35, then yeah, brace for impact. Then a breakdown below the support levels, which I think is coming in the next several months, then I would indicate a move and a big drop down for the third wave, the C wave, down to about this range, the 0.20 to 0.13 levels in the next several months. That's what I think is coming for XRP as long as we stay below resistance. So as long as we stay below 0.64 and 0.75. Because above these levels, I will have to change my mind and perhaps become more bullish. So if XRP gets something going above these levels of resistance, these yellow levels I just mentioned, then I might perhaps change my mind. But I don't think it's likely, okay? Because the structure, everything on this chart seems to indicate a downside break coming in the next several months and potentially even the next several weeks. We shall see. All right, guys, that's really what I have here on the chart of XRP. Again, I'm sorry this is not good news for some folks out there, but I'm doing my best to be as objective and, again, to give you a sound analysis of XRP as much as possible. All right, guys, that's what we have here on the charts. Thank you very much indeed. Bye for now.